All right, what up, y'all? So today, I'm going to give y'all 5 things that I need to see from WWE in 2025. Starting with number 1, more focus on the women's division. Now, they're introducing mid-card championships, you know what I'm saying? By this time, obviously by 2025, we're going to have 2 mid-card champions for the women. But I'm more speaking about on the outside of the championships, you know what I'm saying? I want to see more stories with the women that don't revolve around the championship. The Tiffany and Nia story, that's built off of the title. We have the Liv and Rhea thing built off of the title. Sure, they'll have some stories built off of the U.S. and the Intercontinental Championship. But I want to see 2 women have a feud that it may be based on them just not liking each other. Or something small, you know, it doesn't have to be a super dramatic, drawn out thing. Make it comedic. Just as long as it's entertaining, it'll get people to continue to tune in, you know. You have so many women on this roster, 95% of them aren't being used the way they really could be. The showcasing of these superstars goes beyond just doing a tournament or doing a battle royale. It means putting them in the best position to be the most entertaining for the fans. And really, before the fans, make sure that they're happy in the spot that they're at, you know? Don't put them in a storyline that's entertaining for the fans, but they hate it. They're not gonna build off of that because they don't like it, you know what I'm saying? If you find something that they like and the fans like, you have money right there. And this goes into my second point, mid-card stories that don't revolve around the championship. Now, this is now invoking the men as well. There are a bunch of men on the roster who are just there. They're not doing much of anything. You'll see them backstage in a segment. You'll see them get interviewed. You may see them have a squash match here and there. They'll be the ones getting squashed, you know what I'm saying, trying to put someone else over. Give them a story that doesn't revolve around the title. Just give them a story that can make it entertaining. You know, make them entertaining for the fans and make sure they're happy in that role. There's so much charisma on the roster, and there's so much pure wrestling ability. It's all right there. So for you not to use these superstars and then 6 months later you release them and then you got to say, oh, why you release them? Because they refuse to use them, you know? So if you want to minimize that, you have 3 hours of show, especially for SmackDown. You have 3 hours of show now for SmackDown. Use those 3 hours. Don't give us a whole bunch of filler and commercials and stuff like that. Use the superstars that you have, especially on Netflix. You can make a whole cinematic thing. I feel like Raw and SmackDown are going to be like 2 totally different shows because Raw has different leeway that SmackDown really doesn't. But even so, that doesn't bar them from using the superstars that they have on the roster. You know what I'm saying? And that goes into number 3, grittier presentation. Now, when I started watching wrestling, it was halfway through the Ruthless Aggression era. So a lot of the wrestling that I know is the scratch logo, the darker lighting, the colored ropes, the creative stages and creative pay-per-view stages, stuff like that. We need to get back to that. You know what I'm saying? I know it's cheaper with the LED big screen and the small screen and the long ramp. I know it's cheaper, all that stuff. But this, I ain't gonna lie, this is a multi-million-dollar company. This company ain't ever gonna stop. The company could stop tomorrow and they would still be making money just off of like the games and stuff like that. You know, stuff that they don't need to show week by week to make money off of. You know what I'm saying? This company's never going to just stop. So the whole money thing, I'm like, bro, y'all have money to spend. Y'all making money hand over foot. Just go the extra step to make the shows feel more real. Make the shows feel different than just, oh, this is a wrestling entertainment program. Make it feel like this is a real conflict. That's when I fell in love with wrestling first, when I thought it was real. I think a lot of people forget that. All of us, when we all started watching wrestling, for the most part, we thought it was real. Until that moment when mom or dad or whoever said, hey, you know they're not doing that, right? And it kind of took you out of it for a little bit. But then, once you could realize what it was, and once you were old enough, or once you just understood what it was, that may have made you love it even more. Because now you admire it from a, wow, how did they do this? And how do they still grab the attention? You know what I'm saying? If they can get the adults to feel like a kid again, as far as the presentation and just off of forgetting that this is not real, you can bring in old fans. You can bring in new fans because they're going to see wrestling the same way we did, you know? All the young kids that are in the crowd now, they're seeing wrestling right now. The bloodline stuff, they think it's real. and obviously part of it is very real, but the whole it's fake thing hasn't even crept into their head yet. So their love of wrestling is different. So when I'm looking at wrestling, like how this company has changed so much from when I was younger, my love for wrestling has changed because I forgot what it's like to be like, wow, everything in here looks like this is life or death right here, you know? So the first step to that for me is presentation. The moment that show comes on, I want it to feel like, oh, this is like scary. This is like real, you know what I'm saying? I think like even when Triple H unveiled the Avengers intro at WrestleMania 40. Now I wish I saw it when they unveiled it, because I was at 40 and I was in line for food. I heard him do the thing, but I didn't see the whole new intro until like 2 days later. And I was like, it looks cool, you know what I'm saying? But to me, the one thing I didn't like about it is that it reminded me that this is like a movie, this is a TV show. When back in the day, the whole world is watching. That's what I remember. That invoked a feeling of like, oh, you know, the new intro, it doesn't make me feel like that. It doesn't make me feel like I have to run into the living room and sit on the couch and not move for 2-3 hours, you know? So I need them to find that again. They're probably not going to change the intro. It's a beautiful intro, you know, but they're probably not going to go that route anymore. They're kind of going for the futuristic entertainment value of it. But if they can just find a little bit of just how they presented the company in, like, I'll say it from the years of 2002 to about 2007, maybe 8, maybe 9. From the Ruthless Aggression to like that first half of the PG era, that era of presentation, keep that and see how much you can invoke that into what the company is today. And that goes into my fourth point, more adult themed content. Now, I'm not saying go full explicit, you know what I'm saying? Of course, Netflix has a whole bunch of stuff on their program. They have all the content, you know what I'm saying, that you would expect Netflix to have. But we have a unique thing with this, you know. We have a unique thing with the WWE where it's like we can mold this, you know. I don't think we're ever gonna go full Edge and Lita sex celebration, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we're ever gonna go to that length, because honestly we don't need to. That was just, you know, this is a totally different era, you know. This is a totally different time period with different people who react differently to different things. There's half of the stuff that they got away with, they can't get away with now. And they really, half of it they shouldn't, because half of it should not have been on television. But the stuff that was like not terrible, they still can't get away with it, because that's just the way the world is now. So if you can find the gray line there, so where you're not crossing the line, but you're just on it, and you're keeping it entertaining, and you're keeping it not like you're watching a freaking lolly dolly kid show, you know what I'm saying? That's where I feel like a lot of people stopped watching. In that PG era, it got very cookie cutter, I'll say, you know what I'm saying? Like in that period, a lot of people who were watching during the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression, even farther back, stopped watching because like this doesn't feel like wrestling anymore. You know, that's what TNA did very well. That's what the early era of AEW did very well. Now we don't have that anymore. We don't have that like cutting edge level of wrestling that brings in that adult fan base. You feel me? So if we can find a way to get that without crossing a line, you know, we'll be in a much better spot, to me, than rather just like going straight to like how it was like 2010, 2011. You feel me? And my last point, number 5, less moments, more stories. I don't want to see this company booking for a championship win just so they can say, oh, we did it, you know. I want to see less Jey Uso winning the IC championship because everyone's saying yeet, and then having him hold the belt for 27 days and then losing it back to the person he beat, you know what I'm saying, for no reason. I want to see more build up to why Jey Uso has to do this. What happens if he doesn't? Have him not do it and then watch the decline, you know what I'm saying? The money is in the build. The payoff is just the cherry on top. You understand? The peak of the moment, we have to get to that point, you know? Think about WrestleMania 40. For us to get to John Cena and Undertaker and everyone coming out to help make sure that Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns the second time, we had to go through 39. We had to go through everything, both Rumble wins, the injury. We had to go through every aspect of Cody's adversity, as much as I hated that. We had to go through all of that to get to the point where WrestleMania 40 meant so much. Because imagine if the bloodline build between Cody and Roman was like a month. That WrestleMania 40 ending wouldn't have been as great as it was. You know, you had Roman's old enemies coming back and making sure that his new enemy doesn't fall the same way Cena and Undertaker did. That's picture perfect storytelling. Picture perfect storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So if this company finds a way to have more stories invoked in their programming and less just doing things just to like get shock value, then I think we'll be in a lot better position when we go into the future of this company, just bringing in different people or just bringing in new fans and trying to revitalize what wrestling was at its peak. Because everyone's like, oh, wrestling is a boom period. The boom period now is not close to what the boom period was like in 95, 96, 97, 98. I know wrestling is popular now. It very much is, you know what I'm saying? Wrestling is the most popular it's been since I've been alive. But before I was born, and then this is just like me like looking stuff up, wrestling fans used to be rabid, you know what I'm saying? Because wrestling was that. So if we can get to that point again, oh my gosh, it'll be insane.